Hey Fannies, welcome to a Friday video here with us on YouTube at Stamp Anything's channel. This is Kevin, and today I am making a card inspired from the Craft Roulette episode 185. We are the spin sponsors this month, and right now you can see I have chosen Karl Go with the Flow, and I am doing his skin tone now, and I am using Copics for his skin tone, and I'm using our E04, E11, E21, E00, and E000, and R20 for the cheeks. So for this week's card challenge, which was episode 185, the project was to design a card with a pocket. The colors had to be fresh and clean, and the element was rhymes with OOL, ool, or all. So I chose tool, that rhymes with ool, and then random was columns. So you can see here, again, I'm just coloring in all the face and all the skin tone all together. And I just want to get that all nice and blended up on Karl, because he, again, is the one I chose just because I knew we had him. He had a wrench, which is a tool, so it was a perfect match for this card challenge. So then I'm going to be coloring his hair here, and I used the Uhuhu markers, and for his hair, I used Y13, Y12, and Y11 to color Karl's hair. So I thought this color combination turned out actually really awesome. It was my first time trying it. The Uhuhus are newer markers to me, and I'm still getting a handle on them. So I think his hair turned out pretty awesome. And if you're interested in coloring videos that are in-depth and slower, we definitely have our lives, which are going to be on YouTube here, as we're going to be switching from our Facebook lives and be going live on YouTube instead. So then you can see I already colored his shirt, and I used the Uhuhus as well, and I used CG2, CG020, and CG Roman numeral 2 00. Then for the jeans here, I used BG205, BG203, and MG060. Next up, I'm going to be coloring his little lunchbox or little toolbox, and that I used BG041, BG042, and BG043. And in all my coloring, I just kind of pick out where the shading's going to be. I put that darker color, and then I build up from it, and then I go in with my lighter color and either bring it up into, or sorry, down into my darker or up into my lighter, depending on the look I want to have. So I tried to keep these colors, again, in the challenge. The colors were supposed to be fresh and clean, so I just wanted to keep with a very simple color palette. So I tried to keep to the cool colors, like these grays and blues, and I didn't want anything to stand out too much in this card, so that it would just have a fresh, clean look, which I think in the end we'll see that I really did achieve here. It definitely was a thinker, because I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't know. But it kind of all came together for me. So here you can see I'm doing the shoes, and those are CG9 and CG5. Again, I'm using my Uhuhus. And then for the wrench, I'm using WG09, WG4, and WG3. And then I think I used some WG050 as well. And I just wanted to make sure everything was nice and blended, and again, kept it light, kept the colors going together. I just wanted everything, again, fresh, clean, a simple look, and nothing too jarring when you look at the card. Again, just that was how I was interpreting the fresh and clean look. I took the Jelly Roll pen, the white little gel pen. Of course, I like adding the highlights in the eyes. I added some to the wrench as well, and to the toolbox. Just for a little bit of pop there. I love using the gel pens, either like the Posca pens or the gel pens. So here I use some cardstock, and I am going to be cutting out my pocket. So I want to create a jean texture, and I used Distress Oxides and Distress Oxide inks, or Distress ink, sorry, and I blended them, and I did add some water, let it dry, dried it in between, and then just kind of layered up all my colors together just to get what I was going to consider my like jean look or colors for this pocket. So here you can see I'm kind of chose where I wanted to place these dies to create my pocket. Then what I did is I actually scored it and then folded it with that bone folder so I could tape it down to my card front. And then for the columns, and this was actually Annie's help here because I was like, oh, what should I do with columns? And she's like, what about the tools? And I was like, perfect. So I used black and silver cardstock, and then I cut out multiple sets. I think I did 3 or 4 sets of each. So I just ran that through the die cut multiple times. And then what I thought of after is like, oh, I'm going to use double-sided sticker tape. So I used that on the silver, so that made it easier and I didn't have to add the glue. But I did use the new My Sweet Petunia glue kind of gun, and oh my gosh, that is a time saver, life saver, and precision. So here you can see I decided to kind of go 1 wrench up, 1 wrench down, 1 wrench up, and then add on my extras. And here I am just kind of putting that little pocket together. And here near the end you can see, well, I don't know if I was thinking or what happened here, but my columns ended off not centered. And I think it was because of how I made them wider. So when I did these tall columns with these tools, I was like, what should I do? So I added this little strip I'm doing here with the dark. And then I was like, okay, this pocket by itself wasn't jamming with the card, so I needed to add another blue strip, and that's when I decided to use that the blue bordered background, and then I added black to it as well. And as well, I wanted to make sure he was kind of popped up and looked kind of cool, so I gave him I just recut his outline with silver, and I glued that down or taped it down to the card, and then I pop dotted Karl up over top of that. So now this pocket that I did put on this card is functional. So you'll see what I did was I used the pliers, the plier die. I cut it out multiple times. I cut it out in black, and then I put silver on both sides, and then I ended up cutting out the handles in red cardstock so that I could get a nice little actual tool that you could put in and out of the pocket. And I think it's a good place if you want to put a little note tucked in there or fold up some money and pop it into that pocket. And I didn't put a sentiment because I thought, you know what, maybe I will use this card front someday and I don't know what I'll be using it for. So I thought I'll leave a sentiment off, but I could put that in the blue strip that runs along the right hand side of the card. So here I am putting everything together, and do you know what? Craft Roulette has been so fun. It's been very inspiring, and it's definitely made me think, but in a good way, and it's given me a chance to think outside the box. So with my colors and kind of giving those parameters, like I don't think I would ever come up with this card on my own had I not been given those parameters. So here he is. There's my little Karl. The Go with a flow stamp and my tool belt die set, and there you can see I put that tool in there. And then here you can see the final project, and I added some more white stitching with the pen on there. And thank you very much for watching, and join us next week.